Human Services. And again, thank you for co-hosting this lovely event today. We are ranked 15 this year on Growth Lab's list of top 100 marketing communications firm in the federal sector. We are also ranked number 4 on Growth Lab's ranking of women-owned small businesses. We have been listed 3 times in the Inc. 5000 as far as the list of fastest growing companies. And we trust and confidence are sort of the meaning of beta, and that really leads the hallmark and the North Star of the way we do business. So I would love to connect with individuals on this call in terms of opportunities and partnership. I'll drop my LinkedIn in the chat, and hopefully we can have some continued communications. Again, our clients and partners rely on our expertise to create great stories and experiences. So if that's the world that you're in and you're looking to have some future communication, we'd love to connect with you. I'll close by saying we believe in doing well by doing good. So thank you for the moment to chat, and I look forward to the connections that will emerge from today's call. Thanks so much.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Dawan, and congratulations on all that success. That's outstanding. And thank you again for your sponsoring this event. A little bit about the Montgomery County Chamber. If you're new to the Chamber of Commerce, the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce, or MCCC, one of the greatest distinctions between our chamber and others across the country is our role in the federal government contracting space. We advocate on the Hill for small business federal contractors like yourselves, and our resume includes getting the Small Business Runway Extension Act signed into law. Many of you may know that. It's a very important law that was passed a few years ago. At MCCC, our mission is to accelerate your success. We do so by providing impactful programming such as this event series with HHS. Members of our professional staff are attending today and are available to answer any questions you may have about our organization. This event series was developed to connect the GovCon community with federal agencies, build relationships with other business leaders, and learn about upcoming federal procurement opportunities. Over the past few months, we have hosted virtual and in-person events that will help you continue to dive deeper into contracting with HHS, ensuring that you have the information and support necessary to help accelerate your success. For example, our 3rd event in the series was held in person on April 18th in Rockville. That event sold out quickly. The events featured guest speakers from HHS, GSA, the National Library of Medicine at the NIH, as well as one-on-one open sessions with prime HHS contractors. We will be hosting another in-person event with details to follow, so please be on the lookout for that announcement. We will also provide you with presentation material from today, and we'll also include a link to today's presentation video. Your feedback, ideas, and participation are invaluable to us, so we encourage you to utilize the Zoom chat box to share your thoughts, insights, and ideas throughout the session. So let's move right into our program for today. Today we have the honor of hearing from 2 officials from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. First, we're going to hear from Ms. Monica Gibson, who is the head of the contracting activity and director of the Division of Contracts Management for the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality. We're also going to hear from Mr. Wayne Berry, who many of you know, who is a small business specialist at the OSDBU, Department of Health and Human Services. But first, let me introduce Ms. Monica Gibson and tell you a little bit about her. She has served as the head of the contracting activity and director of the Division of Contract Management for the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality since January of 2010. In this position, she oversees all of AHRQs. I forget what your acronym, how do you say your acronym, but of their acquisitions and acquisition policies and systems. During her tenure, Ms. Gibson has restructured their contracting division, implemented federal acquisition training programs, and designed and implemented many acquisition process improvements and systems to support AHRQ's mission. Ms. Gibson began her contracting career in the Navy Contracting Career Intern Program for several major weapons systems programs at the Naval Air Systems Command. She has since held various acquisition policy and leadership positions, including Chief of the Epidemiology, Therapeutics, and Sciences Branch in the Office of Acquisitions at the National Cancer Institute, which is part of NIH. Also the Director of Procurement Management at the Government National Mortgage Association, or Ginnie Mae, a government corporation under the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and the branch head in the Office of the Chief Procurement Officer at HUD. Ms. Gibson holds a bachelor's degree in finance from the University of Maryland and an MBA from the George Washington University. So without further ado, please welcome Ms. Monica Gibson. Monica, it's all yours.
Thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to join you today to talk a little bit about AHRQ and HHS and our acquisitions. I have a slideshow coming up here. So as mentioned, I'm Monica Gibson, the head of contracting activity for Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality, and we do commonly call that AHRQ. So it's easier to say than all of the word soup that we have here. So if we go to the next slide, this is a little bit about AHRQ and our mission. So the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality, our mission is to produce evidence by researching, and that evidence will hopefully achieve our goal and our mission of making the healthcare safer, higher quality, more accessible, equitable, and affordable within the United States. We also work really closely with our other HHS partners to make sure that the evidence we're producing is understood. And this graphic here, I think, is helpful because it tells a little bit about AHRQ. We do research for healthcare. In contrast to that, CDC focuses on research for public health purposes. NIH does a lot of the bench science research for cures, and then FDA focuses on drug safety. These are just some of our sister agencies at HHS. There is also Indian Health Service, Medicare, HRSA, SAMHSA. So there's quite a few operating divisions within that HHS umbrella. This is a little bit about AHRQ and our mission. So if we go to the next slide, this talks about AHRQ's core competencies. And this is important because all of the acquisitions we conduct are in support of these three major areas. So we have health systems research, which looks at how healthcare is delivered and what opportunities might exist to make it better, cheaper, faster, and more affordable. Practice improvement. So we also do a lot of research on practice improvement to look at frontline health systems and clinicians and the way that healthcare is delivered, and try to help build tools and products that is food for thought to try to make the delivery of the healthcare better, safer, all those things. Now, there's a lot that goes into that because we look at healthcare practices in total, whether they're delivered in a physician's office, emergency care center, nursing home, all of that. So all of the healthcare practices are encompassed in our research. The third tier is really quite a large one for our agency. It's data and analytics. And so AHRQ does a lot of data collection and analysis to help inform healthcare decision makers and policy makers about how the healthcare system is working in the United States and where there might be opportunities for improvement. And so in this competency, we have a lot of major data collection programs and data analysis for healthcare data itself. So all of our acquisitions support these three core competencies. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. A little bit more about AHRQ itself. We're a very small operating division as HHS goes. We only have 300 federal employees and 18 contracting professionals. So we're very small in terms of the HHS community. AHRQ contracting uses any mechanism available to meet our needs and to support and deliver the mission and needs of our customers. And we'll use any mechanism there is. So we recently are really focused on category management as small businesses that want to work with the federal government. That's important for you all to understand. There are government initiatives to use existing contract mechanisms that already exist in lieu of creating our own mechanism. And so that's called category management. We will use GSA schedule contracts, other government-wide acquisition contracts to meet and fulfill our needs to the maximum extent available. If there are none available, we do create our own standalone contracts where necessary. We use small business set-asides, small purchases, basically anything available to us. And we will choose the most efficient mechanism to get the contracts awarded and get the support to our customers. So it's important for you all to know that those initiatives exist within the government, and contracting professionals like me are being encouraged and incentivized with goals to use category management mechanisms to the maximum extent they are available. And hopefully that's a help to the small business community as well. Once you get established on those government-wide mechanisms, if buyers like me and my division are using them, it's a little bit less burdensome for small businesses to also apply and send in standalone proposals to create new contracts. So we do use all of those. What is the next slide? All right, so this tells a little bit about what market research methods we use to survey the marketplace of available companies and industries to fulfill our needs. We'll use several different mechanisms. We do industry and internet searches. Our scientific personnel attend conferences, gather information on available contractors that might be working in the space. We do often submit sources sought notices that are published in sam.gov, where we're looking for potential, and we want to know if there's small business community out there that can fulfill the needs of our program customers. So we'll publish in brief what those needs are and ask for capability statements in response to let us know what small businesses are available that might be a good fit and be able to respond with a proposal to perform the effort. So this typically includes an overview of the requirements, a summary of the capabilities that the scientists in our agency believe are necessary to fulfill the responsibilities of the contract, and then a deadline for response of those capability statements. So those are key tools that we use to survey marketplace for small businesses and businesses in general to fulfill our needs. We've also normally include and ask for information what government-wide contract mechanisms you might already have awards for, so that we can also look at, first we look at, are there small businesses capable, and then we'll look at what government-wide contract mechanisms might be able to be used to be more efficient and quickly place the order and run the competition. So here's a couple best practices for doing business with AHRQ, and I would think this applies to all HHS agencies. My first tip is to monitor the HHS forecast. There's a small business opportunities forecast available on the site where we post information on acquisitions that are planned throughout the year, and information that we have available so that small businesses can take a look into that and monitor those projects and look for sources sought notices that might be coming out for those particular projects. I would also encourage you, if you're responding to a sources sought notice, please follow the instructions. We're looking for specific information on capability and want vendors that can demonstrate the capability to perform and also, as I stated, please include information on your existing contract mechanisms. I think there's a couple more bullets back there. If you could go back one. Okay. Okay. So then my last set of comments here are, please do the homework and research on whatever project you are responding to. We want informed competitors and contractors that have done their homework and research and really understand the nature of the work we're trying to do and what we're trying to deliver to the agency and to the public as a result. To work with AHRQ, we really we buy research and also lots of support roles, communications, contract, meetings, things like that. But fundamentally, each of those, you really need to understand the requirement and the healthcare industry or data practices that we'll be working with. It is a niche area of research. So it's really important that contractors working, even if they're working in a general IT development or communications role, that you're able to speak to and respond to the clinical information needed and the knowledge of healthcare industry practices and how healthcare data itself is collected and available. My next tip is solicitation phase. So most of our solicitations allow for a question and answer process from prospective contractors. And so I really encourage you to use that question and answer process widely to make sure that you understand the requirements that have been articulated in the solicitation, and you're asking for clarification where needed. Sometimes we take those questions, we'll actually amend the requirement itself to make it more clear for industry and to make the evaluation criteria and proposal instructions as clear as possible for you all. And so you also help us and our program colleagues by sending in the questions and seeking guidance and clarity on things where you think it might help improve the solicitation and the outcome of the acquisition as a whole. And then the last one I've already stated, we really do emphasize the importance of category management, participating in getting on those government-wide contract mechanisms to the best of your ability and to the maximum extent possible, and or knowing and teaming and partnering with people who do have those contracts, because there's nothing wrong with forming a team to respond to any of these offerings. And so those were my best practices. My next slide is just thank you for your interest in AHRQ and HHS acquisitions. And I hope this is helpful information and guidance on how to do so. So I think I saw some questions pop up. Are we answering questions now?
But before, Monica, if you don't mind, thank you for the great information, very excellent insights. I was going to see if Wayne, I was going to turn it over to Wayne for a few minutes, and then we'll go back to questions if you're good with time. Sounds good to me. Excellent. Okay, let me go ahead and introduce a man who needs no introduction, and that's Mr. Wayne Berry. But just in case, let me tell you a little bit about Wayne. He's a small business specialist with HHS's OSDBU, currently assigned to the Health Resource Services Administration, or HRSA. Wayne's career in civil service began in Cleveland, Ohio, at the Lewis Stokes Cleveland Department of Veterans Affairs Medical Center, where he served in contracting. He was later recruited to DC as a program analyst in the Department of Veterans Affairs OSDBU, where he began in April of 2011. With that, please, Wayne, it's all yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Wow. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm looking at some of the names here, and it's kind of like the family reunion. It's so many folks that I recognize, and I'm just honored that you came back and you were able to see this presentation by Monica. Monica, I want to thank her and her team at AHRQ. I serve at AHRQ, I have for the last year, and they are truly dedicated and capable, responsible professionals. I don't know if you want me to do the presentation right now, or if you want me to just say hello and then pass it back to Monica. I could do either.
Go ahead. Why don't you go ahead and do the presentation?
All right. Yeah, we'll get it out the way. Once again, I want to thank Monica for coming out. And what we're going to do really quickly is what I do every presentation is I talk about where HHS is as a small business goals and everything like that, and where we need your help. So, with each presentation, each virtual happy hour, I have the list of upcoming opportunities that's going on across HHS. Right now, I ran that report, and I think we have a little over 300 announcements for the entire enterprise that are out on the street between now and September 30. So please take a look at that. And we're going to get into what's going on at AHRQ right now. So small business goals overall, HHS, as my grandmother said, has biggest room in the world is room for improvement. So we got a lot of yellow and red. We got to make some moves here. AHRQ, it's all red. Get that. But I want you to understand something. So Monica and I, we had a conversation about this earlier. And one of the things that she pointed out that I want to share with you now so that, take the heat off, right? AHRQ, in the beginning of each fiscal year, they do a lot of awards to large businesses, large high profile awards. And then AHRQ spends the rest of the fiscal year doing whatever awards they can with small business. So they kind of dig themselves out of the hole throughout the fiscal year. Now, we got a whole nother quarter to turn this stop sign yellow and then green. So just pay attention to the announcements, things out on the street, so that we can all work together to move this needle here. As far as HRSA is concerned, as you know, I cover AHRQ and HRSA. HRSA, for the first time this year, has turned all green. If you were here in April, there was one red, and that was service-able veteran-owned. If you were here in March, HRSA had a couple things that were not going their way. So what Monica talked about how HRSA, how AHRQ digs themselves out from behind, HRSA did. And I guess that's kind of validation and hope you have hope and proof of life. Do me a favor, go to the next slide, please. Is that possible? Do I have control of the slides? Okay, here we go. Upcoming opportunities. Now, I'm gonna tell you what, I don't know. Okay, so this is like the end of the third quarter, the fourth quarter starts in July, right? You saw me count my fingers, right? Yeah, I did that. So this is kind of like before the dam burst, right? The amount of opportunities out on the street right now at AHRQ and HRSA, there's only one, and it is for data analytics, statistical products. The solicitation is right there. The points of contact are right there. This solicitation is out on the street right now as a sources sought announcement. So please respond early and often, completely. Please respond with your detail and your experience. I don't care if it's, obviously we would prefer government experience, but if you don't have government experience, but you have private sector experience, please list that. But make sure you tailor your response to the questions and answer them completely, okay? I just want everyone to have their best foot forward and do the best they can in running this work down and setting it aside for small business. As I always do, I want to talk to you about the small business customer experience. That is our one-stop shop for everything small business at HHS. We have updated it to include a teaming portal So if you're looking for teaming arrangements, you can post your announcements or what you have coming up and let other people respond and kind of work to collaborate with you. That is unique, and we're very excited about that system. Any and all feedback about that would be greatly appreciative of it. Two things, and then I'll let you go back to Monica. I know this is she's the star of the show. I'm just giving her a breath. In the works, what we have going on out here in Montgomery County, I'm working with a bank to do a presentation on developing relationships financially for your business. Good credit scores for business, developing credit scores, how it impacts how your personal relationships, your personal business impacts your business credit. These are the things that we want to put together and we're working on out here in Montgomery County. If you want to have topics, if there are things that you didn't know about finance that you want to know, please send them to me so that we can add that and update maybe the curriculum for what we're trying to do here for that. And finally, the next up, OSDBU outreach event will be with the National Institutes of Health, the Office of Research Facilities. Office of Research Facilities is the construction office that manages the NIH campus out here in Bethesda. So the NIH campus is about, I always get these two confused. I think there's 80 buildings on 200 acres. I believe that's what it is. There's always upgrades to facilities, maintenance, always maintenance. There's always landscaping services. And then there are major projects that they're doing and updating. You should know that ORF has a MATOC, which is basically a IDIQ for construction. They have several vendors on that IDIQ. Many of them are small, entity-owned, Alaskan, Hawaiian, tribal, right? Entity-owned, that's what we call them. There are several on there, but that contract expires in 2027. I know that sounds like a long time, but if you can get on that contract as a small business, you will eat from 2027 to 2032. So I know it's a ways from now, but it's something that if you put the time and effort into it and you land it, it will pay you. It will pay off for you for years. As always, I am so glad to see all of you. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce for participating with us. And as always, thank you, our guest, Monica Gibson. She didn't have to do this. I am sure she can feel paperwork growing on her desk as she speaks, but she took the time to demonstrate and to encourage small business participation in her shop. And I'm very grateful for that. And with that, I yield my time. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you, Wayne. Appreciate your remarks as well as Monica. So now it is time for questions. So if you have a question, there's actually two ways you can ask it. One, you can put it into the chat in the toolbar. You'll see there's a chat feature. Also, you can just raise your hand and I will call on you, ask you to unmute, and then you can ask your question to Monica or Wayne. So I will start out by reading this one question in the chat. And it's probably to Monica. There was a mention of ensuring you have past performance or partners that do. Some of our proposals have been penalized for expanding our team to include partners to support our capabilities. Can you advise on how we can avoid that penalization in future opportunities?
Sure. So the federal government's policy is to always look at past performance when we are evaluating competitive proposals. If you have no past performance, you are supposed to be rated as neutral. Of course, that's never going to be better than presenting past performance. Contractors can form teams to respond to acquisitions and have subcontractors bringing skill sets to the project. and your proposal should be evaluated in its entirety for all of that. If you're bringing a large number of subcontractors, one of my primary recommendations is to make sure that the prime contractor is articulating who is doing what each entity is presenting or bringing to the project, and most importantly, how all of those entities are going to work together as efficiently as possible to deliver the requirements. Technical personnel can get a little leery if there can be a perception that it's going to be a free-for-all. The job of the prime contractor is to articulate why you compiled the entities in the project and who's bringing what and performing each task. Of course, the government doesn't want to pay multiple people to do the same thing. So that's usually the criticisms that we see of proposals with multiple subcontractors. And so I challenge you to make sure that you're really thinking through how you're going to manage this in practice and demonstrate and articulate that to the government reviewers. I think that is critically important. I would like to go back to one of the slides that Wayne just presented for an update on the healthcare data analytics. Okay, so we're red now, but we won't be red at the end of the year. On the next slide, I think the list is available. Oh, okay, there we go. So healthcare data analytics here in the upper left-hand corner. That's actually beyond the sources sought notice. We've closed our sources sought, and the solicitation was issued yesterday. And it's being competed on GSA schedule 54151 HEAL with it, which is Health Information Technology. So this is a very large project. It's actually slated for award in early 2025. So we're getting proposals in. Questions are due on June 24th, and proposals are due on towards the end of July, third week of July. So if you do healthcare data analytics and statistics, I'd encourage you to take a look at that and see if it's a good fit for your organization. I also got a quick chat from one of our program customers that's on the meeting today, and she'd like to present a little bit about her program and some of the small business searching that they're doing for that in particular. Do we have a couple minutes for that?
Sure, absolutely. Go right ahead.
So Christine Chang is here. She's the director of our Comparative Effectiveness Research Division. Is that right, Christine? Okay. And she's been working real hard to find small businesses that work in this niche area of research that AHRQ supports, and has some information to share.
Great.
So sorry to hijack the schedule, but hopefully this will be helpful.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to crash your party. I really appreciate it. So I'm just going to run through some slides, and I can make them available later on. I'm just going to see if, can I share my slides, or do I?
Yes, you can.
Here we go. Thank you. Only one participant can share it at one time. Okay. There we go. Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm here to talk to you about AHRQ's Effective Healthcare Program. And we support evidence-based healthcare decision-making. And so just some information about the EHC program. We're a trustworthy source of independent and unbiased evidence reviews. We do them on a range of topics. They're clinical topics like treatments of rheumatoid arthritis, healthcare delivery like models of care, and also implementation, which is about how to get good practices into practice. We work with end users to use our evidence reviews to inform their decisions, And some of these decisions may be around clinical practice guidelines, healthcare policies, research funding, and then also coverage for services. We contract for these evidence reviews with different organizations. They include universities, large research organizations, and also small businesses. And this is our NAICS code. We commission a range of different types of evidence reviews. There's systematic reviews, that's our flagship product, scoping reviews, evidence maps, living reviews, and then also rapid reviews and rapid responses. And I wanted to talk about the rapid responses. These are brief summaries of published healthcare literature. There's a short turnaround, about 12 weeks. And this is just a list of the most recent topics for which we've done rapid responses. They're on dental services, heart interventions, and on deprescribing for medication harms. And again, this is something that we set aside to award to small businesses. I just wanted to talk a bit about our program values, which permeate all the work that we do. The first is around using scientifically rigorous methods. The second is around partnership with end users. And then the third is a commitment to quality. So in terms of the rigor of our methods, we have a methods guide, which guides all of our analytic methods. We update the chapters as needed, and this promotes consistency across our entire program. And this has been used as the basis for other methods by other evidence synthesis groups like the USDA and NIST. So this is a well-recognized and accepted handbook. The next is around partnerships, which increases the relevance and the usefulness of our work. This is just examples of how they've been used and some of the partners. And I just want to point out the box on the very right-hand side around coverage. One of our rapid responses was used by CMS and was incorporated into their 2024 physicians fee schedule. And because of that rapid response, CMS now covers dental services for people getting cancer treatment. And then the last is around quality. We look to internationally and nationally recognized standards. This is the Institute of Medicine Standards for Systematic Review. This was published in 2011. It has 21 standards, 82 elements per performance. Very valuable when you have high stakes questions or when you need to use public funds. So really important for us as a federal agency to look to these standards for quality. These standards are around 4 major areas: initiating a review, finding and assessing individual studies, synthesizing across studies, and then the reporting. And how this relates to the rapid evidence products or rapid responses is that we look at these standards and we think about strategic shortcuts where we do a trade-off between rigor and speed. And just an example, I'm going to talk about that CMS rapid response again. They found 27 primary studies, 7 systematic reviews, 5 practice guidelines. And this is what they found, that pre-chemotherapy dental care can reduce oral infections and also the incidence of osteonecrosis of the jaw, where the jaw basically falls apart, during cancer treatment. And so because of our review, it's now covered by CMS. Now, we had to do, our contractor did strategic shortcuts. There were some standards of the IOM that were met, and these were some of them around the expertise, conflicts of interest, clear inclusion-exclusion criteria, things like that. There were adaptations because we needed to do a trade-off between rigor and speed. So this is just a description of what was done. We refined questions, but with only limited input. We searched a limited number of databases, so on and so forth. So I'm not going to go through all of that, but you get the picture. And then there were some standards that just could not be met because of time. These were around public comment, formal peer review, synthesis across studies like meta-analysis, and assessment of applicability. So just an example of some of the work that we've done. And just to tell you again, our program is moving towards more and more of these rapid responses that are set aside for small businesses. There's a growing demand for these, both by federal partners and also by others, actually. But through all this, we still have a commitment to quality because people need to trust our work. And that's why we think through strategic shortcuts to the systematic review process, in collaboration with the contractor. So I leave you with my name and email address and the QR code to our Effective Healthcare website, where you can find more about our work and our methods.
All right.
I'm going to end there.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the additional information. Let's move to questions, because I see there's several of them in the chat, and I know Mr. Robert Hereford has had his hand up for a while. So let's start out with Robert. If you can please unmute and just ask your question.
First off, Mauricio, it's great to see you again.
You as well.
Any of the vendors that are out there that have not been through the National VIP training course, I'm telling you, you are missing a ton of great information and learning. And I will tell you that comes from somebody that has an MBA and also has training through the SBA's Emerging Leader class. What I learned in the National VIP, their intro class, their intermediate class, and their advanced class is, shoot, I could go probably apply to be a contracting officer. It's just that level of in-depth information that you can't buy it, you can't read it, this is the place to go for it. So Mauricio, thank you and your team for doing this. For Monica and Wayne, thank you for setting this up. I've been tracking that opportunity for about 6 months or so in GovWin, and on the analytics. So we're very excited about bringing you a next generation data warehouse that is a little bit mind-blowing. So anyway, well, thank you very much. And we are on the GSA mass schedule with that product. And so it looks like we're in great shape for it.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate all the kudos about VIP. I agree with this, but didn't ask you to say that. So that's but we do appreciate that, and great to hear your voice. Let's move to there's questions in the chat. I'll read them out to you. First, we have, are there any additional barriers for nonprofits to compete for HHS contracting opportunities? Monica?
I can speak for AHRQ. No, there are not. We have nonprofits applying for submitting proposals for contracts often. HHS wide, I'm not aware of any. Are you, Wayne?
No, if you're a nonprofit, but you've never gone after government contracts, it is a very, very different world. It's the color of money, but it's entirely different rules and regulations. But there's no barrier to what you should know is, regardless of your size, if you're not a small business, you are considered an other than small business. So you may have 3 people in your nonprofit and you're going after work, but you will not be considered small for the work you're going after. You will be considered an other than small business.
Because the SBA statute requires it to be a for-profit company to be considered a small business, right? I think that's it. Yeah,
and SBA has a very narrow definition of what is a small business. So much revenue for a for-profit organization. If you're a nonprofit, period. I mean, and that impacts college, universities, all kinds of social organizations. They're just considered other than small business.
That's absolutely correct. Yes. Yes. Thank you for that. Okay, next we have, we are seeing many agencies pilot new ways of working. How is your space supporting the new ways of working? Hybrid, flex space, sublease, consolidation?
So we're like everyone else in this day and age. We've been working remotely you know, worked remotely the entire time COVID was a factor, and we've adjusted a lot of our processes and systems to account for that, putting electronic proposal submission to a larger degree and lots of that stuff. But we're doing fine, and you know, some people prefer it remote, and some people, you know, it's kind of a hybrid. Some people go in, but we're turning out acquisitions
Excellent. All right. Thank you, Monica.
in a multi-functioning mode. I would say.
There's a question about does HHS have 8A goals, targets, and if so, how well are they doing? Wayne?
All right. So, HHS does have, every federal agency has the 8A program rolled up into the small disadvantaged business category. So this current administration has put a focus and an emphasis on 8A awards because they know that a lot of that money that's awarded to 8As goes into local communities. But it's not a socioeconomic group independent of the other ones. So as far to answer your question, how is HHS doing with small disadvantaged business where 8A and Alaskan or entity-owned 8A are a subset? HHS has a goal established by SBA of 14.75 for this year, and we're at 10.3. So we got room for improvement, but that answers your question.
All right. Thank you, Wayne. Another question from Dorette. Are there other ways of getting notices on rapid responses separately from SAM or SBCX?
No, currently we don't. So I would monitor SAM for those, which is the government's wide point of entry for all announcements in that.
Okay.
So if you're looking to do general research on the comparative effectiveness program and rapid responses and reviews, I would encourage you to go to the that division's website, which I believe Christine provided earlier. It's under the AHRQ website.
Great. Thank you, Monica. I don't know that there's other questions. I believe we've answered. Anyone? Other questions?
Somebody asked where the forecast was, the AHRQ forecast was. There is no separate AHRQ forecast. We are one of the contributors to the HHS wide forecast. And so if you go to the HHS Small Business Opportunities forecast, I think that's what it's called, you'll see all planned acquisitions, not just for AHRQ, but for all of HHS. And 2025, they've requested us to publish our 2025 lists and middle of August. So I would keep monitoring that. Wayne, do you have anything else to add?
I want to add to that. Yes, please. So in addition to the forecast, we have the under SBCX, we have a list of contracts that are expiring soon. We basically just ran a list of all contracts expiring across the enterprise. And those contracts go all the way out to fiscal year 2026. So under small business tools, there in SBCX, there's a link and it says contracts that are expiring soon. I didn't pick these titles, but that's where you want. And that gives you everything, every contract that HHS has is expiring within the next 26, between now and 2026. We're going to update that pretty soon and we'll keep it and we'll, give you a better update. But if you were curious, that's some information I think you may find helpful. Also, before I let go, thank you, Ms. Chang, for coming on. You were a welcome surprise. Monica was holding out on us, but that's all right. She's all right. Thank you for coming. And with that, I yield my time. I'm sorry.
Excellent. Agree. Thank you. It was a great surprise. Any other questions from I see under small business tools from Michael? I'm not sure I understand the question. Any other questions from anyone? If you either raise your hand or put it in the chat. If not, we are ready to move
Yes,
on.
Mike. Yes, Michael. In SBCX under small business, it's like toolkit or something like that. You'll see it.
Okay,
Thank you.
excellent. All right. Well, thank you everyone for your questions, and thank you for the presentations, Monica and Wayne. Really appreciate your time. And now it is time for our networking breakout rooms. So as we prepare to be sent into the breakout rooms, I encourage each of you to take the opportunity to introduce yourself, connect with the fellow attendees, exchange ideas, forge new connections. It's really through these relationships that lasting partnerships are formed. Each breakout is going to last 10 minutes. And once the 10 minutes is up, you're going to be brought back to the main room for a minute before being placed into a new breakout room to network with a new group of people. So we're going to try to do 3 of these, 3 rounds of breakout rooms in the next 34 minutes. So you'll have a chance to connect with many of today's attendees. Again, we encourage you to start your breakout sessions by having each person provide a very brief introduction. So now it is time to connect. We're going to launch the first breakout room now. So happy networking. All right, well, welcome back, everyone. I think we're all back. Are we all back, team?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello.
All right, well, hopefully everyone had a productive and meaningful conversation during the breakout sessions. So I want to thank everybody for participating. Just a couple of quick notes. Following today's event, you're going to receive a link to the presentation video, as well as a registration link for the next event in the series, along with the chat. So thanks again to Monica Gibson, Wayne Berry, Christine for their excellent presentations, and of course to Beta Associates for sponsoring today's event. We really appreciate all of you. So thanks everyone for sharing your time with us this afternoon. Your attendance demonstrates your commitment to learning more about how to support the critical missions of our federal government, as well as growing your business in the federal contracting space. So thank you again for your time, and have a wonderful rest of your day and rest of your week. And thank you, Wayne, always for working with us, and hope today's meeting was productive for everyone. Thanks.
Man, working with you guys is like it's like a Saturday morning. I enjoy it so much. I really do. I would say I feel bad getting paid for doing it, but I know I need the money too. But no, listen, I enjoy all of you all coming out. Thank you for coming out today. I hope it was very helpful. Thank you again, Monica, because Monica doesn't come out very much. And I thank her for her special guest. That was awesome. Go out and do great things. Have a great day on purpose.
Thank you. Thank you, Wayne.
God
Take care.
bless.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Take care, man.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.